Welcome back to Lincoln Currency, the channel. Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into one of the most intriguing stories in the world of coin collecting. We're talking about the 1981 Lincoln penny, also known as the 1-cent coin minted in Denver with the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the front. Now you might be wondering, how could a simple 1-cent coin ever be worth big money, let alone something as crazy as $98 million? Is that even possible? Well, stick around, because what we're about to uncover might just blow your mind. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just curious about the coins rattling around in your pocket change, this is a story packed with history, mystery, and market madness. Let's start at the beginning. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of American currency since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design we see on most Lincoln cents today, the one with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, was actually introduced in 1959 to mark 150 years since Lincoln's birth. It replaced the earlier wheat ears design, which had been used from 1909 to 1958. That Lincoln Memorial reverse design stayed in use all the way until 2008, so the 1981 penny falls squarely in that era. Now, the D in 1981 stands for the Denver Mint, one of the U.S. Mint's main production facilities. Coins with a D Mint mark were struck in Denver, Colorado. In 1981, billions, yes, with a B, of these Lincoln pennies were minted. In fact, the Denver Mint alone produced over 5.3 billion of them that year. With such a high mintage, it might sound impossible that any one of those coins could be worth more than its face value. But, as with most things in the coin world, rarity isn't just about how many were made, it's about how many have survived in pristine condition, how many have unique errors, and what kind of historical significance or collector intrigue surrounds a particular coin. Let's talk about composition. Pennies minted before 1982 were primarily made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. That's important, because in 1982 the U.S. Mint transitioned to a cheaper composition, copper-plated zinc. So the 1981 penny was part of the final full year of the traditional copper cents. That copper content alone makes each pre-1982 penny worth more than 1 cent just in metal value, especially during times when copper prices spike. Although melting U.S. coins for their metal content is illegal, the intrinsic value is still something collectors and hoarders pay attention to. Now, what about the big claim? The idea that a 1981 penny could be worth $98 million. Where does that come from? Is there a secret ultra-rare coin hiding in someone's drawer that could command such a price at auction? The answer is more complicated than a simple yes or no. Let's be real, no 1981 penny has ever sold for $98 million. That figure is largely a product of viral internet rumors, clickbait articles, and exaggerated listings on resale platforms like eBay where people list ordinary coins for outrageous prices, hoping to lure in an unsuspecting buyer or just get attention. But that doesn't mean all 1981 pennies are worthless. On the contrary, some of them are quite valuable, under the right conditions. For example, high-grade 1981 Lincoln cents, those that have been preserved in flawless condition, can fetch a nice price. We're talking about coins graded MS67 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. These top-condition coins are extremely scarce, because even minor scratches or dings from circulation can downgrade a coin significantly. In these perfect or near-perfect grades, some 1981 pennies have sold for hundreds of dollars, sometimes even over 1,000, depending on demand and condition. There are also error coins. These are coins that were misstruck at the mint and ended up with some kind of unusual feature. Think double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. If you were to find a 1981 penny with a dramatic and well-documented error, especially one that's certified by a reputable grading service, then you might be looking at a coin worth hundreds, possibly thousands. These coins are highly collectible because they're anomalies, rare mistakes in a system that's designed to be exact. But let's get real for a moment. Is any 1981 penny actually worth $98 million? No. There is no verified auction, private sale, or catalog listing of any coin from that year and mint mark ever selling anywhere close to that amount. The most expensive U.S. coins ever sold, like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, have broken records in the range of $7 million to $18 million. And those are coins with extraordinary rarity and historical value. A mass-produced penny from 1981, even in perfect condition, isn't going to reach that level of value. At least, not unless it was made from some mysterious rare metal or has some otherworldly backstory we've yet to uncover. Still, the legend of the $98 million penny persists. Why? Partly because people love a good underdog story. The idea that you could have a coin in your change jar that's secretly worth a fortune. And it's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. In 2010, a man found a 1943 copper penny in his pocket change. That coin turned out to be an extremely rare error. Only a few were struck in copper that year instead of the usual steel. It later sold for over $1 million. So, could there be a similar error lurking in the 1981 D batch? It's possible, though none have yet surfaced with that kind of verified rarity. What you really want to look for if you're checking your 1981 D pennies is the condition first and foremost. A coin that has never been circulated and still has its original mint luster could be worth grading. Look for sharp details, especially on Lincoln's hair and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Then check for anything unusual, off-center text, doubled letters, or even a missing mint mark. If you think you've found something out of the ordinary, the next step is to get it authenticated and graded. Services like PCGS and NGC charge a fee, but they also provide legitimacy and a clear valuation range for your coin. And while you're at it, consider the sentimental and historical value of your coins, too. The Lincoln penny is more than just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of American history, a tribute to one of our most beloved presidents, and a constant presence in our pockets for over a century. Each coin has a story. Maybe the 1981 D penny you're holding once passed through the hands of someone important. Maybe it survived years of circulation without a single scratch. Or maybe it's just been waiting quietly, unnoticed, until now. So the next time you see a 1981 D penny, take a closer look. It probably won't make you a millionaire, but then again, the world of coins is full of surprises. Sometimes, the real treasure is in the discovery, the hunt, the history. Because when you dig a little deeper, even the most ordinary objects can reveal something extraordinary. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. Don't forget to check your own collection, hit that like button if you learned something new, and subscribe for more stories from the fascinating world of coins and collectibles. Who knows? The next great find could be just a penny away. Would you like me to trim or adapt this script for a specific video length or reading speed? Back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing topics in modern coin collecting, the 2014 D Lincoln cent, also known as the 2014 D penny. There's been a lot of buzz online, especially in recent years, about this particular coin being worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and in some bold claims, even millions of dollars. Some people are saying it's worth as much as $98 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, sit tight because we're going to break this all down. We're going to cover the full history of the coin, how it was minted, what makes it special, or not, what errors to look for, why people are talking about huge values, and what the real market says today. So let's start at the beginning. The 2014 D Lincoln cent is part of the ongoing Lincoln penny series that began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The original design featured the famous bust of Lincoln on the obverse, which continues to this day, though with several changes over time. In 2010, the reverse design transitioned from the Lincoln Bicentennial series to the current Union Shield design. That's what you'll see on the back of any 2014 penny, a stylized shield with a scroll across it reading, E pluribus unum, which is Latin for, out of many one. The D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint, and as with most modern coins, the 2014 D penny was produced in very large quantities. In fact, over 4.1 billion of these were minted. Yes, that's billion with a B. So, from a purely numbers perspective, this is not a rare coin. You could probably walk into a grocery store, get some change back, and find a 2014 D penny in circulation today. They're still out there. Most are in circulated condition, which means they've been used and show signs of wear. These are typically worth face value, just 1 cent. So, how in the world did a 2014 D penny get linked to a valuation of $98 million? It all comes down to a combination of myths, misunderstandings, and in some cases, exaggerated headlines designed to grab attention. There are clickbait articles and videos floating around the internet, often with titles like, "This penny is worth $98 million, check your change," or, "Don't spend this 2014 penny, it could make you rich." Most of these are based on speculation, not actual auction results. Let's be clear, no 2014 D penny has ever sold for $98 million. The highest recorded auction price for any modern Lincoln cent, including special errors and varieties, is in the range of thousands, not millions. And those are exceptional coins with dramatic errors or incredibly high grades from professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Now, this doesn't mean that all 2014 D pennies are worthless. In fact, some are worth money, and here's why. When coins are struck at the mint, mistakes happen. These mint errors can range from minor to extreme. Some 2014 D pennies have been discovered with errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and plating issues. For example, a double die obverse, where the design appears doubled, especially around the date, Liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust," can be valuable to collectors. Similarly, a penny struck off-center or with a major die break can fetch higher prices. The key is that these are rare and need to be verified by a reputable third-party grading service. Let's talk about grading for a second. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 means the coin is in perfect mint condition with no visible flaws even under magnification. These coins are rare. A regular 2014 D penny that's been circulating is usually going to grade somewhere between 1 and 60. But if you happen to find one that's been well preserved, possibly even uncirculated, it might get a grade of MS65, MS66, or even higher. Coins graded MS67 or above start to become interesting to collectors. The highest graded 2014 D pennies, those in MS68 or MS69, have sold for up to $1,000 or more. But again, these are exceptional and need to be slabbed and authenticated. So where does the $98 million claim come from? Well, let's call it what it is, misinformation. There are no records, no verifiable auction listings, and no credible dealers who have ever sold or even appraised a 2014 D penny at that level. It's possible that someone misread an auction listing or exaggerated a private sale, but if a coin actually sold for $98 million, it would be front-page news in the numismatic world. Every coin news outlet would cover it. Major grading services would issue press releases. And there would be provenance and documentation. None of that exists for the 2014 D penny. Now, what you might be seeing online are extremely rare and valuable coins being confused with more common dates. For instance, a 1943 copper Lincoln cent, one of the most famous era coins in U.S. history, has sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars because it was struck in copper when all pennies that year were supposed to be steel. Or the 1909 SVDB penny, another valuable collector's item. But those are very different coins with specific histories and authentic, rare features. Back to our coin, the 2014 D penny. If you're hoping to strike it rich, you'll need to check for more than just the date and mint mark. You'll want to inspect the coin for any anomalies, die doubling, unusual damage that's actually from the mint and not just wear and tear, and anything else that looks out of the ordinary. Use a jeweler's loupe or microscope. Take high-resolution photos. If you think you've found something special, send it off to PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it and tell you if it's worth grading and slabbing. That's really the only way to get top dollar for a coin, especially if you plan to sell at auction or to a serious collector. Another thing to consider is market demand. Just because a coin is rare doesn't mean it's valuable. Value is determined by what someone is willing to pay. If a coin is rare but no one wants it, it won't sell. On the flip side, even common coins can sell for high prices if there's strong demand and if they're in exceptional condition. This is where auction houses and online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections come into play. They provide a real-world snapshot of what coins are actually selling for. So, if you're thinking of hunting down a 2014 D penny worth big money, here's what you should do. First, gather all your change and sort through your pennies. Set aside any 2014 DS you find. Give them a close look. Check for doubling, off-center strikes, odd colorations, or strange textures. Look at the date, mint mark, and devices like the lettering and Lincoln's profile. If you find anything that stands out, do some research online using reputable coin forums and sites. Then consider submitting your find for grading. Now let's talk about the psychological aspect for a moment. The reason stories like the $98 million penny go viral is because they tap into a universal dream, the idea that something ordinary could turn out to be extraordinary. It's like finding treasure in your pocket. It makes us feel like we're part of a bigger story, like anyone could strike gold if they're just paying attention. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that optimism, as long as it's grounded in reality. Coin collecting can be a fun and rewarding hobby. But it also takes knowledge, patience, and a healthy dose of skepticism. The more you learn, the better your chances of identifying a real gem when you see one. To sum it up, the 2014 D Lincoln penny is a fascinating part of modern U.S. coinage. While the vast majority are only worth face value, there are rare errors and high-grade examples that can command a premium. But the idea that any of these coins are worth $98 million is pure myth. So if you see a headline like that, click with caution and always dig a little deeper. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below if you found any interesting 2014 D pennies yourself. We'd love to hear your story. And as always, keep hunting, keep learning, and who knows? That next penny in your pocket just might surprise you. Would you like this script also formatted for teleprompter reading or turned into subtitles?